Mga kabayan, bahagyang nagkaroon ng komisyon sa Kamara matapos lantarang ibunyag nitong si Congressman Johnny Pimentel, ang isang mataas na opisyal ng Department of Education o DepEd na si Mr. Epimaco Densing. Sa ginawang pagdinig kanina sa Kamara, isiniwalat ni Pimentel ang tila malawakang korupsyon na nagaganap sa DepEd at ito ay pinamumunuan ni Mr. Epimaco Densing.
You have been doing the rounds para ka nang nagbebenta ng isda. Inaalok mo sa lahat ng congressmen ang allocation ng school buildings asking for a commission.
Mr. Chair, may I now respond?
Yes, please.
Well, first of all, it's a blatant lie asking for commission. And that's the very reason I'm process-oriented.
Sasabihin mo, Mr. Chair,
Process-oriented po ako, Mr.
ang mga
Chair.
congressmen, gusto mo mag-executive session tayo, ipapakita ko sa iyo mga congressmen.
Sige, wala akong nakausap. Yung sa Manila nyo, I was never with the architect Texon.
Order, please.
One
minute,
Mr. Chair.
suspension is declared by the chair.
Ayon pa kay Congressman Pimentel, nakahanda siyang maglabas ng mga ebidensyang magpapatunay sa kanya mga paratang kay Mr. Densing kung paano ito nanghihingi ng malalaking komisyon kapag may mga school project na isinasagawa ang DepEd. Dahil dito sinabi niya kay Densing na hindi na ito dapat bumalik pa sa gobyerno dahil sa pagiging iskalawag nito.
What I will do, Mr. Chair, is gather more evidences to prove that what I am saying is true, that Mr. Epimaco Densing is a very corrupt person. He is a kalawag in the public service. He has been asking commissions for the release of funds for the school buildings. Papatunayan ko po yan sa next hearing. I'll gather more informations. Ito pa lang sasabihin ko sa iyo, Mr. Densing. Dapat wag ka nang bumalik sa gobyerno. The government does not need your kind. You are a very corrupt person making your position to your advantage.
Ano ang masasabi mo dito, kabayan? Naniniwala ka ba sa mga naging pagbubunyag at pagsisiwalat nitong si Congressman Johnny Pimentel na may malawakang korupsyon sa DepEd noong kasalukuyan pang sekretary ng ahensya itong si Vice President Sara Duterte? Sama-sama natin panoorin ang buong video at pakicomment niyo po ang inyong mga reaksyon at sariling opinyon. Pero bago yan, sa mga hindi pa po nakasubscribe sa ating channel na Kabayan News PH, pakipindot po ang subscribe button at pakiclick na rin ang notification bell para lagi kayong updated sa mga bagong upload natin na legit at napapanahong balita. Maraming pong salamat.
Yung first appointment mo, pagpasok mo sa DepEd, anong binigay na position sa iyo?
Until December 31, Chief of Staff muna po ako. Dahil ina-arrange pa yung mga bagong appointees at the time. I was the first appointee at the time, Your Honor.
No, when you entered July 18, were you appointed as Chief of Staff, Undersecretary?
Undersecretary, Chief of Staff, yes.
Undersecretary.
Chief of Staff, yes.
Undersecretary for what?
Chief of Staff.
So concurrent yun, Undersecretary and Chief of Staff.
Tama po. That was the first position.
You served then as Chief of Staff of Vice President Sara.
Tama po yan, as of December 31.
So sabay kayong pumasok.
Ahead lang ba siya? By July 1 po siya. Ako July 18 officially.
Aside from the DepEd portfolio, ano pang government service na napasukan mo na?
Prior to DepEd, I was DILG Undersecretary.
From what year?
From 2018 to 2022, and I entered DILG as Assistant Secretary for Plans and Programs from 2016 to 2018.
Prior to the DILG appointment,
I was from the private sector, Your Honor.
so in short, as a government public servant, you only served as DILG Assistant Secretary and DepEd Undersecretary.
Tama po yan. 8 years in total, Your Honor.
Aside from being a Chief of Staff, ano pa bang ang designation sa inyo?
Nung first 6 months po, in office, yun lang po. Then when the Matatag agenda was formulated, the form reform areas included infrastructure. So by January 31, during the basic education report, I was announced to take care of the infrastructure strand, newly created, Your Honor.
So what does that cover? You were in charge of the school infrastructure and facilities.
Tama po yun.
Is this a division or the department? Or a program? Ano bang ibig sabihin itong
It's
school?
a strand, Your Honor, like the curriculum and teaching strand, like the administration strand. So it's a policy level position, Your Honor.
So what covers, anong mandato mo dito sa school infrastructure and facilities?
It's to create policy on how infrastructure should be made, creating the long-term strategic direction. Nagkaroon kami ng comprehensive school infrastructure development plan for 2030. Then, coordination with DPWH because the implementer of the new construction of DepEd is DPWH, not DepEd.
Were you involved in the procurement of the school buildings?
No, Your Honor.
But you were in charge of the allocation of the budget of the school buildings.
The identification, Your Honor. We have a committee to do that.
And ikaw ang in charge doon sa identification.
Ako po ang in charge, pero sabihin, I had a committee created for the identification.
Okay, ano ba ang mga programs doon sa school infrastructure and facilities?
So it includes, Your Honor, new construction implemented by the DPWH. Then we have the school furnitures implemented by the regional offices. And we have the last mile school, electrification, water systems, and implemented by the division offices.
So if you started in 2022, in short, you handled the budget for 2023 and also for 2024, hindi po ba? For the school buildings.
For the 2023 po, hindi po. The school buildings was under the administration strand. So I only took over 2023.
What was the budget? What was the budget of the 2023 school building program?
The original budget was 5.9 billion. Yun po ang nasa NEP. And it
That was for 2023.
23 po. I-explain ko yung original po. 5.9 billion sa NEP. It was only limited to 5th and 6th class municipality. Then pagdating po paglabas po ng JA, nadagdagan po ng 9.7 billion. So a total of 15.6 billion, 2023 JA.
For 2024,
2024 sa NEP po is 19.7. By when the GAA came out, it became 24.7 billion for 2024.
so i-cover din ng SIF yung Basic Education Facilities Fund programs, hindi po ba?
Opo, tama po yun.
So under din sa iyo yun,
Ang alin po yung?
yung BEFF, the
Opo.
Basic Education
When you say
Facilities
BFF,
and
that's the
Programs.
total infrastructure program.
But there is a discrepancy. And sabi mo kanina, 19.7 billion ang
NEP.
allocated.
NEP.
But it states here that in the 2023 GAA, the amount of 23,417,897 pesos was appropriated in the GAA for 2023.
Your Honor, that's BFF. So that includes new construction, which is 15.6 billion, my electrification, my water system, my repairs, around 4.9 billion, and I think last mile school. So total of 23 billion, Your Honor.
So you were the one in charge for the identification.
Tama po yan.
Aside from the identification, ano pa ba ang mandato mo as a undersecretary? What exactly is your designation? Undersecretary for what? For operations, for administration?
Starting 2023, Undersecretary for School Infrastructure and Facilities, starting 2023.
So, sakop mo nga lahat ng mga school buildings.
Tama po,
Mr.
tama
Chair.
po.
Okay. So, you were the ones who decided sinong bibigyan ng school buildings kasi sabi mo kanina, ikaw ang nag-identify. So, you were the ones, kasi ang proseso po niyan, nagpapadala yung mga school superintendent division or rather the schools division in each district or in each province, they have proposals for the repair, for the construction, and it goes to your office. And then ikaw ang nag-identify sinong popondohan. Dahil hindi naman pwedeng pondohan lahat, hindi po ba?
Tama po, tama po.
Correct.
Pero for this purpose, Your Honor, I made sure that it is equitably allocated. That's why in August 4, 2023, we created a National Technical Working Group composed of 4 area managers, members of the Education Facilities Division, merong operation strand outside, no, outsider sa SIF strand para ho fair ang allocation and based on needs. And there's a criteria. The criteria is 70% should be allocated to those which are in makeshifts, yung talagang walang classroom from the very beginning, and 30% allocated dun sa may shortage, kagaya ng 2 shifts, 3 shifts, yung po shortage po yun. So nakafocus
Mr. Chair,
po dun.
merong committee na nagde-decide
Tama po yun.
kung sinong bibigyan ng allocation
Opo.
based on the proposed list of the divisions. Hindi
Tama po.
ba?
We assume na validated na rin siya.
So in short, ikaw talaga ang nagde-decide kung sinong binibigyan.
Once na nagawa na ng listahan ng yung komite, I just accept it as is because I assume that they follow the criteria that we set.
But I think you're the one who is really deciding because if I recall, during the budget hearing, Mr. Chair, for 2023, ang pinadala po ni Mr. Dinsing during the party consultations, pinadala ng DepEd during the party consultations, if you remember, for every budget hearings, before the pre-plenary budget hearings, may pinapadala po ng mga representative, in most cases it's the secretary. I recall in 2023, during the budget deliberations, kayo ang pinadala na regarding sa mga school buildings.
Tama po yun. I remember that was, I think, 3rd week of August 21 or 22. Tapos at that time, tapos na po yung listahan na ginawa ng National Technical Working Group. I think the list was supposed to be around 15.1 billion. Yun po ang pinresent namin sa consultation.
So in short, you really have a big role. You have the big role in identifying and allocating funds for the different divisions with regards to school buildings. Hindi po ba?
Tama po, tama po.
Ngayon, ang tanong ko, in the 2024 budget or the National Expenditure Program, there was an allocation for Surigao del Sur, in fact, 2 districts. One in the amount of 103 million pesos for, if I'm not mistaken, Tagbina National High School, and another 70 million pesos for Barubon National High School. But unfortunately, in fact, there was already a notice from DepEd to DPWH to conduct the biddings already. However, all of a sudden, the biddings were stopped because accordingly, the funds are not available. Paano po nangyari yun, Mr. Chair? Na nakalagay na nga doon sa National Expenditure Programs, pagdating doon sa 2024, nawala yung budget.
Ang nangyari po noon, Mr. Chair, sabi ko nga, meron na identify na 15.1 billion yung National Technical Working Group, which we adopted as is. Yun po ang pinesent namin sa mga ating congressman.
But Mr. Chair, it was already included in the NEP. Paano mawawala yun?
Ang nangyari po, Mr. Chair, ganito, nung paglabas po ng General Appropriations Bill, yung 19.7 naging 24.7 billion, pero yung 14.7 billion nagkaroon po ng Annex A. In other words, these are the projects identified by the various congressmen. So, yung aming 15.1 nawala. So, since nawala siya, ang una namin ginawa, yung lahat ng may malalaking allocation na 100 million pataas, yun ang una namin kinat para ma-allocate sa mga maliliit. So, yung aming 15.1 at the time naging 5.8 billion na lamang, lumiit po ng husto.
So, Mr. Chair, in short, you took it upon yourself to cut the budget without notifying the congressmen. Sabi mo kanina, may mga identification mga congressmen. You took it upon yourself, being the head of the SIF, to cut the budgets of the different proposed school buildings. Ganun ba?
That was because there's no more budget in the General Appropriations Bill. We had to cut for that everybody will also be allocated.
So how did you decide, Mr. Chair, kung anong kapuputuloy, anong tatanggalin doon? Anong bibigyan?
Well, ang decision lang muna is tanggalin yung mga malalaki, which is yung mga 100 million pataas, 80 million taas. Because, Mr. Chair, as I already mentioned, the policy was really to go multi-story. Kasi wala na pong buildable space, kaya medyo malalaki po yung ating building ngayon to maximize buildable space. So, yun po ang nauna. Yung mga 100 million pataas, 80 million pataas. So, yung natira mga 50, 40 million na
Yun
two-story,
nga, tinanggal
three-story.
ninyo eh. Yung multi-story, tinanggal ninyo dun sa district ko, Mr. Chair. Yun ang tinanggal ninyo.
Well,
And not only that, there was also a 200 million peso project in District 1 na tinanggal din ninyo.
Hindi ako familiar in detail, pero I don't remember there's a 200 million school building in any school for that matter.
You know what, Mr. Chair? I'll give you an explanation bakit ninyo tinanggal. Do you know a certain Mr. Greg Murillo?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Sabi ko kanina, Mr. Chair, the 180 million pesos was already included in the National Expenditure Program. But upon bidding, it was recalled. But prior to the bidding, this Mr. Greg Murillo, who's a close friend of Mr. Dinsing, called me. At itong sinabi niya, kamusta po kayo, Congressman? Sabi ko, mabuti naman. Congressman, meron po lang kayong budget na 170 million pesos para sa district mo. O sabi ko, yun nga, naka-schedule na for bidding. In fact, binibidding na yata. Sir, pwede daw muna, mag-usap daw muna kayo ni Mr. Dinsing. Those exactly the words of him, pwede tayo magharap-harap tayo. Baka naman pwede makipagkita ka kay Mr. Dinsing. And sabi ko, para saan? Alam mo na, may pag-uusapan kayo. Right there and then, I already knew anong pag-uusapan. Si Mr. Dinsing hihingi ng komisyon. So, I told Mr. Greg Murillo, whom you admitted is your good friend, sinabi ko doon kay Mr. Murillo, why will I give money to Mr. Dinsing when this has already been allocated in the National Expenditure Program? So I did not entertain that anymore. And Mr. Chair, lo and behold, the funds did not come through. Kinancel yung bidding and then nawala na nga because I did not come across to the request of Mr. Dinsing na humingi siya ng komisyon. And not only that, Mr. Dinsing, hindi lang akong biktima niyan. Marami pong mga congressmen. And for the record, I want to put it in record, maraming mga congressmen na nagsabi din sa akin that you approach them. In fact, there is one congressman in Visayas that you were asking for 18% commission of the school buildings. Kasi ikaw nga ang nagdidesisyon kung sinong bibigyan, sino ang tatanggalan. In fact, it is on record. You just said kanina na ikaw ang nagdesisyon kung sinong tatanggalan, sinong bibigyan. Not only that, sometime last year or probably within this year, you met with some of the congressmen in Manila. I already talked to them. Humarap ka doon, may kasama ka pang contractor. Do you know a certain architect, Ralph Texon?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. Yung po ang kasama mo nung humarap ka sa congressman sa Manila. And just the same, you were implying, you were asking for a commission, hindi lang yun, sinabi mo pa na yung contractor mong gagawa, itong si Mr. Architect Ralph Texon. And that is the reason why, Mr. Chair, tinanggal si Mr. Dinsing sa DEPED. He did not resign. I knew from the very beginning that he will be taken out because there were already anomalies in the distribution and the allocation of school buildings program. In fact, Mr. Chair, nung pag-alis niya sa DepEd, may isa pang inipit na 34 million pesos sa Bislig Central Elementary School, which is in my district. Now, I will not mention anymore the name. one official of the new administration sa DepEd called me. Anong sabi sa akin, Mr. Densing? Kung meron ka bang project na 34 million sa Bislig Central Elementary? Sabi ko, meron. Ano, nakabidding na? Hindi, ni-stop nga eh. Eh sir, ito, ilalabas na ho namin. Inipit ho ni Mr. Densing. And that is the reason why, Mr. Chair, this person was taken out of DepEd because of his anomalous practices in DepEd. Yun po ang katotohanan niyan. Nakiusap ka pa na ma-retain ka pero hindi na tinanggap ni Senator Sani Angara, and that's good for DepEd because you have been doing the rounds para ka nang nagbebenta ng isda. Inaalak mo sa lahat ng congressmen ang allocation ng school buildings asking for a commission.
Mr. Chair, may I now respond?
Yes, please.
Well, first of all,
respond.
it's a blatant lie asking for commission. And that's the very reason I'm process-oriented.
Sasabihin mo, Mr. Chair,
Process-oriented po ako, Mr.
ang mga
Chair.
congressmen, gusto mo mag-executive session tayo, ipapakita ko sa iyo mga congressmen.
Sige, wala akong nakausap. Yung sa Manila nyo, I was never with
You are lying,
Architect
Mr.
Texon.
Order,
I
please.
can cite you for
1 minute
Mr. Chair.
suspension is
Mr. Chair.
declared by the chair.
What I will do, Mr. Chair, is gather more evidences to prove that what I am saying is true, that Mr. Ipimako Densing is a very corrupt person. He is a kalawag in the public service. He has been asking commissions for the release of funds for the school buildings. Papatunayan ko po yan sa next hearing. I'll gather more informations. Ito pa lang sasabihin ko sa iyo, Mr. Densing. Dapat wag ka nang bumalik sa gobyerno. The government does not need your kind. You are a very corrupt person making your position to your advantage. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair.